This is Mike Lindell with Drew Pinsky. They had a conversation about Mike Lindell's recovery network, so I wanted to take a look around and see what his recovery network included. His website is wild. Check this out. LindellRecoveryNetwork.org. Okay, let's see just what's the first video here.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. Welcome to the Lindell Recovery Network. You all know me as the inventor of My Pillow, but what you might not know is that for over 30 years, I had many addictions, including crack cocaine. I tried many times in many ways to quit my addictions, including going to meetings, counseling, treatment centers, you name it, I've tried it. Everything I've experienced in my life has helped me to develop the most revolutionary platform for addiction ever.
He invented the most revolutionary platform for addiction ever. Okay, and did you get it peer-reviewed? Is it something that scientists, by and large, approve of, think is valuable and useful to treat addiction? Or is it just something you pulled straight out of your ass? Spoiler alert, it's the latter.
Revolutionary platform for addiction ever. What I'd like you to do to get started is enter your age and your addiction below, and you will see people that have made it through. You're going to see your hope matches.
Okay, let's take a look at our hope matches, shall we? I've looked at a few of these in like another episode, so I'm not gonna like go into the ones that we've already seen. But let's hit heroin. Select age, 34, and let's just listen to what these people have to say, shall we?
I used to struggle with addiction to heroin and meth.
Okay, first thing that I notice right off the bat here is that this woman, it appears to be like recorded on a TV screen. Like she's talking on a TV and somebody's holding a cell phone, pointing it at the TV screen, recording it. Go on.
I used to struggle with addiction to heroin and meth. My husband was abusive and I lost my kids due to domestic violence. When they left, it was like my whole existence was non-existent. And the drugs kind of masked that for me.
Oh, was that it? Really? Okay. What about this fine-looking gentleman?
My name's Logan Oates, and I grew up here in Kentucky. Started using drugs when I was 14 years old, and meth was...
Yeah, this dude doesn't look like he's on a TV being recorded on a cell phone.
Was the first one that I thought I was finding an escape with, and instead it engulfed my whole life, and I started spending everything on meth. So I tried heroin, and heroin took everything from me, and I went from 200 pounds to 100 pounds. I hate drugs.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight too when I was on heroin, and there isn't much to lose. I went from 145, which is what I am now, all the way down to 118, I think. What other videos we got here? How much you want to bet? We should do a bingo thing here. And the bingo card should contain somebody claims to have been a hoe bag when they were younger. And what was the other one that we just watched? Country singer, person from West Virginia. Okay, let's see. Ooh, he's got a sick shirt.
How you doing? My name's Ryan Fears, and I'm addicted to heroin. And I just want to tell you about how heroin has impacted my life and everything that I hate that it's done to my life. Pretty much, heroin has destroyed my life.
He's currently addicted to heroin, I guess, is what he's saying. Quick interjection, this won't take long, I promise. I'd appreciate it if you watched to the end of the video, or at least a couple extra seconds, because YouTube bases its algorithm off of watch time. The more watch time a video has, the further the video will go. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion and the history of the religion generally. The 100 questions are intended to challenge a religious leader, so I'd appreciate it if you give it a read. Okay, back to the video.
Lie to you, I will steal and I'll help you look for the things I stole. I will take your TV, your laptop, your cell phone, anything I can get my hands on. I will rob any store, I will do anything to get that next one. I have a 4-year-old daughter who I've completely abandoned. Pretty much haven't made one birthday, one Christmas, and on her last birthday, she told me she didn't even have a dad. So I just want you to keep in mind before you put that first drug or drink in you, that you'll be sitting where I am, either in jail, in a rehab center, and I'm lucky I haven't died yet. So
The thing that the approach that I've decided to take with my kid, of course, ex-addict, I was on OxyContin and heroin for a while and everything else. The approach I've decided to take is to point out the fact that drugs aren't bad. That's not really a representation fully of the situation at all. Drugs are good, like really, really good. And when you do them for the first time, that's it. You can never go back. You can't unring a bell. You can't unsee what you've already seen or experienced. For the rest of your life from that moment forward, you will think about that drug forever. It's a difficult process to get off of drugs, and the willpower involved in the process is insurmountable. You have to care about getting clean more than anything on planet Earth to be able to do it. It is deeply, deeply destructive. Even if you have all the money in the world, even if you're a Don Jr. or something and you're doing coke or you're doing heroin or you're whatever, it's irrelevant. You are burning up what little time you have on this planet chasing a buzz that you will never fully get again. It's not worth the time or the effort. It's not worth it. Don't do it. And what's more, don't put the experience in your head as something that you want to reach for in the first place. Right now, you don't care. You can take it or leave it. It's irrelevant. That's not the case after your first use. And it's not just the substance that, oh my God, it's so good. It's so enjoyable. It's like a part of it's part of the effect the substance has on your psyche. Mental addiction before physical addiction. You will do anything to have it again. So on that note, please don't try it. Even once, don't try it, because you can't unring the bell. Sadly, the people on this page, the Lindell Recovery Network or whatever.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell.
They have rung the bell, and they know. And what's even more sad, they're turning to Mike Lindell to help. He's not going to help you do jack shit.
My name is Austin, and I am a recovering meth and heroin addict. The things I hated about it, the, cost, not only financially, but the peace of mind for my family, my kids, the lack of patience that I had. I hated the getting sick. I hated how it made me.
I guess he's talking about dope sickness. When you don't have what you need, you get sick.
Towards other people, especially people I loved. I hated having to hide from people with the track marks. I hated.
Well, see, that's a fascinating thing about track marks. This is something people get wrong a lot of the time. But as somebody who is inside of this whole world myself for a long time, track marks don't usually start out on your arms. I mean, sometimes I suppose, but commonly they start out on your hand right here. Just a weird little scab right here is it. And they're nearly like, it's hard to tell if it's just a scab or tracks or what. They do move to the arm because you destroy the veins in your hand and everywhere else. It makes it very difficult to get others. So you start hitting your arm and everything. And I'll tell you where the ultimate addict finally ends up. The ultimate addict finally ends up shooting up in his jugular vein. The vein right here on your neck. So you have an artery that goes to your brain, and then you have the jugular that goes down to your heart and pumps, so on and so forth. That's an instantaneous buzz, basically. Instantaneous. And it is an additional step beyond simply shooting up, which in its own right is an additional step beyond ingesting it in some other way, snorting it, for example, which again is another step beyond just eating it, taking it like a normal pill or whatever. There are degrees of addiction, and hiding your track marks from your family can be very difficult and stressful and needless. You don't even need to go down the road. Don't even start. You don't want this life. Quick interjection, this won't take long, I promise. I just want to say I'd appreciate it if you check my Patreon. owenmorgan.com/Patreon to find it. YouTube's algorithm goes up and down, so I can never predict where it's going to be. Having patrons gives me some level of stability. Okay, back to the video.
Not knowing if I was going to either not get high or on the other end of the spectrum die. And
Okay, well, if you deal with the same dealer, then 99% of the time you know the amount you're getting. And what you should be doing is taking a little bit to see how powerful it is, and then proportionate to that, take a little bit more. If you're just like buying a new batch from a new guy and then just putting like a gram in your system, that's a bad idea. I don't even know if this guy is like an ex-addict. I don't know.
yeah, just a peace of mind and worry that it took on everybody. So,
What's this one? Let's see here.
My name's Mandy. I'm 30 years old.
Looking for the hoe bags. I'm really hoping we find some hoe bags in this equation.
My name's Mandy. I'm 30 years old, and my drug of choice now is heroin. I started smoking weed because all my friends were, and when I was 14,
Weed is a gateway drug, is the implication here, I guess, huh?
one of my friends asked me if I wanted to shoot up methamphetamine, and
My friend's ex-wife used to do it in their feet.
my name's Mandy.
No.
I'm 30 years old, and my drug of choice now is
I'm sorry. Let me just let me point this out. That's not true. A lot of people say that others do. I meant to say this. A lot of addicts say that they used to shoot up between their toes. No, they didn't. If somebody says that, they're lying. In their feet, there are veins. So maybe they did it in their feet, I suppose, possibly, or in their leg or something. But they did not do it between their toes. That's fictitious. There are no surface level veins between your toes that you can hit. It's just nonsense. Anyway, it's you know what it is? It's nonsense created by people who don't know any better, who have never been around an addict before, have no clue how any of this works. That's what it is. Anyway.
My name's Mandy. I'm 30 years old, and my drug of choice now is heroin. I started smoking weed because all my friends were, and when I was 14, one of my friends asked me if I wanted to shoot up methamphetamine, and because he was my friend, I thought, okay, it'll be okay. If he's doing it, it's going to be okay. And that later led into pills, and then eventually I was hooked on heroin. What I hated most about using heroin was probably the withdrawals, and like your mind is always thinking about when you're going to get more of it, even when you still have a little bit. So you're like constantly like got anxiety of I can't run out because then I'll start getting sick and I'll start throwing up and getting the cold sweats, and that's like the worst, to get them cold sweats and be shaky. So like you're constantly thinking of how I'm going to get more, what I'm going to do to get more.
You'll do anything. Wake up, get money, get drugs, go to sleep. Wake up, get money, get drugs, go to sleep. Whatever it takes. You'll do anything.
And sometimes like not even having a clean rig, like I would think about how I can just keep this one lasting the longest.
I called it a rig too, yeah. And the problem is that they get like really dull, and it gets very painful, and they don't pierce veins very well after a while. So you're gonna have to get a new rig eventually. There's just no other choice, and it's really hard to come by sometimes. So yeah, I can relate to this, I suppose.
I hated myself for what I had to do to get that heroin. I was really negative. Like everything, there was no positive in my life at that moment in time. Like it was constant, like I hated myself. I wasn't good enough. I should just be doing this anyways because I don't deserve anything better. Like I didn't want my family to know that I was addicted to heroin. I didn't want my daughter's dad to find out. So like I would legitly like have to put makeup on my track marks so you wouldn't see that they were all bruised up. I would wear sweaters in the summer or long sleeve shirts in the summer.
Yeah, track marks bruise sometimes because a bruise is where blood kind of enters the area and it slowly dissipates. So when you get bruised when you're doing drugs, it's because you've pierced a vein and the blood just comes out of the vein and into just the surface of your skin a little bit. And it ends up looking just like a bruise. It doesn't actually hurt. It's not like it's painful to get that. And it's not even painful to poke the bruise or anything. It's just blood flooded the area is all.
I would just avoid people at all costs, to be honest with you. If I was sick, I would not want to be around anybody, so I eventually just started isolating from everybody. All I thought about was the heroin. That's all I wanted. And that withdrawal, as soon as it started, the weird thing was, I could do a shot, and a couple hours later, I would just start, my restless leg syndrome might get really bad. And once I started feeling that come on, or I'd feel like I started getting all sweaty and stuff, I knew that I wanted to get more before it got full on. So I felt like I was constantly craving it.
Absolutely. Constantly craving. Yeah, that's 100% true. Now, with all this in mind, I want to point something out. All of this came from Mike Lindell's recovery network, right? Lindell's recovery network. The thing that his recovery network is based upon is Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous. He apparently came up with his own revolutionary whatever. It's fictitious. It doesn't actually benefit anybody. It doesn't further any goals for anybody. It's garbage. Even NA and AA alone are garbage. They're religious programs, not scientific programs. If you want to go with a scientific program, get secular therapy, which is what I had. Has nothing to do with God. It has to do with solving the underlying problems that led you to this situation in the first place. So what does Lindell offer here? He offers hope matches, for one thing. There's a hope report. It's running an unknown error. I guess it's not going to let me view the hope report because Cloudflare thinks that I'm lying about being a person, or maybe they just suck. The website does. I don't even know what I'm looking at. This is a total of 3 pages to it. All right, let's see. Age 30, addiction, marijuana. Oh, pornography. Oh my God, I should have looked at these earlier. Okay, so addiction, pornography. This has got to be good, right? Why did he put heroin and opioids separately? They're the exact same thing, but whatever. Not here to nitpick. Okay, look at his thing on pornography, okay? Check out what these girls say about their addiction to it.
And down the line, I could actually say addicted to alcohol.
By the way,
because everywhere I went, I drank.
By the way, this is alcohol, not pornography, first. And second, this looks like it's filmed on a TV, which is being recorded by a smartphone being held up in front of it. And third, what does this have to do with anything?
And I didn't just drink. I wanted to reach the point of drunk. That was my intention. Every time I went out.
I don't understand. What did that have to do with porn addiction? That's what I was looking for. What about this person? What's her story?
That I was brought to the abrupt realization that almost every single bad thing that ever happened to me in college while I was drinking was either caused by or included excessive drinking.
I thought we were looking at adult entertainment recovery, not alcohol recovery.
Huge red flag, obviously. Another reason is that it was affecting my relationships with people. When you go out and don't really remember anything, that doesn't bode well with people that care about you. Obviously, they're worried about you. You can often say things that you don't mean. You can flake out on things that you're supposed to be responsible for, and that ultimately just can really negatively affect your relationship with people.
Okay, well, this sounds like alcohol. Oh, it is alcohol. I missed okay, my mistake. All right, let's look at the porn addiction one. Let's see. They only have 3 videos, really? That's boring. Okay, check this out.
Led me to discover pornography at a very young age, definitely before my teenage years, but a lot in my teenage years. I think because
Again, did he rip this from another TV show? Is he just like pretending that this is his stuff?
Was not getting it from other people and love and that attention. I needed to find it elsewhere, and I found that in my secret place, which was watching pornography and videos as well as photos and stuff like that. So I struggled a lot when I was my adolescent years.
Like, is this even real?
I didn't glow up until much later in life, so I struggled with my sexual identity, who I even was, who I liked. Was I bi? Was I gay? Was I straight? I didn't know at that point, and I was watching so much pornography that it really got me twisted and trying to figure out, like, who am I? And like in the back of my mind, I always knew God was there, and I was going to church and I was hearing the messages, but nothing really stuck. Like, that didn't really stick with me. What stuck with me was living in that perversion, spending hours upon hours digesting the wrong images and the wrong ideas of what love looked like.
Okay, wow. So that's her description of why adult entertainment is so evil. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Holy Christ. Where do I just want to get back to the Lindell Recovery Network. Here we go. Okay, Hope Match. Sadly, there is no any age option. Let's do 18 porn. Zero results. 21. Here we go. 21 years old. We appear to have some. Wait, let me try 20.
And I'm thinking something's not right. Anyway, so I've gone through. And within this crack house, I always remember the first time I went in there was a little girl sat, and it was a bit like this, you know, with them kind of fires. There was nothing on the floor, and she sat in front of the TV with a tin of beans, and everyone sat gouging out with heroin and pipes everywhere, and this pipe.
I've seen that before. It's hard to watch. A little kid being around all of this stuff is just awful. What do you do? You know, what do you do about this? These people may go to jail for this, then the girl goes to foster care, and then what? They got out of jail and get her right back.
Pipes everywhere, and this little girl sat on the concrete floor eating beans. And I remember the first time I ever walked in there, I was like, what on earth? But let me tell you what crack does. It wasn't long till I was sat there piping up in front of her, because crack destroys your morals and your principles. It dictates to you what time you get up, what time you go.
I agree. It does. It decays your morals and your principles, 100%.
Bed. Who you're going to rob, when you're going to sleep, if you're going to eat, what you're going to do. The only way I can describe addiction to you is you're hijacked.
Yeah, it's ugly stuff. Absolutely. This is like really bad, this website. It's just awful. 24. All right, here, try this guy.
Certain things started to corrupt me even pretty early in life. I was probably 9 or 10 years old when I got introduced to pornography.
Did he just like rip this from another Netflix documentary? Not even rip it, but just like photograph it with his phone?
We had like cable TV, and one of the channels I was flipping through one day.
Let me get, was it Skinamax?
It was like all blue and staticky, but you could like see something through it. And I stopped and I started watching, and it was pornography. And for some reason, it was like kind of coming through the cable signal still, even though we weren't supposed to get that channel. And so I just became fascinated with it, even at that young of an age. And it started doing things to my mind that were not good.
Yeah, I don't think that kids should be exposed to porn, if you will, adult entertainment. That's like not helpful or valuable or good at all. Can do a lot of damage to a kid's psyche, for sure. But these people are completely full of shit, presenting it like it's some societal evil that needs to be banned or something. It's just nonsense. I'm sad to see that some videos have been removed, though. There seem to be only 3 people that have talked about it.
The story is really one of this battle between the flesh, the worldly desires, and God and the Spirit and his plans for my life. And so, you know, I was sexually abused when I was younger, And this sort of sexual sin was something that plagued me growing up.
And I guess that sexual sin is the reason why he watches porn now. Okay, got it.
And so while I was hearing about Jesus and is something I desired, I was also experiencing the worldly desires. And, there's a battle.
Okay, I don't know what that even means, but all right. You check this one out.
Sure. Christian Dresner just turned 40, and the drug I was dealing with was pornography. What I hate.
The drug he was dealing with was pornography. This guy's never been addicted to a drug in his life. He has no idea what kind of pain you go through as an addict. He has no clue what that's like.
Hated the most about pornography is really being enslaved to it. It just took over. It was something that I had no control over. It just took over my life. And on top of taking over my life, it was hidden, it was in secret, it was in darkness. It was nothing that I was open with anyone. So I think that made that enslavement even worse.
This is just sad, man. Are these people ever going to come back to reality? Or is he just going to continue to propagandize for Mike Lindell, of all people, chief propagandist practically, for the election fraud stuff?
Jesus said, "You either with me or against me." And I believe that moment when I said no to Jesus, it did something. Because now, I desire sex. Now, I can't get enough of it. And I saw this we used to watch TV, this little channel. You could get on it and you could see some pornography, but you couldn't really see it that well, but you could see good enough to know there's two people. And I didn't care about eating food. That's all I wanted to see was that.
Okay, that's not healthy at all, obviously. And there is a truly deep underlying condition at work. 95% of the country would understand that you need to eat food to survive and that you should go get food. But this guy says it's above that? Okay.
I was consumed with it. I was hooked.
This is insane. Gambling is an issue. Gambling is like on the list here. And sex. Okay, let's check out this sex addiction thing, right? All right, check this chick out. She's a sex addict.
Sex addiction is, I guess you can say, it's like a learned behavior. When I was little, my uncle.
It's a what? It's a what behavior?
Learned behavior.
A learned behavior?
When I was little, my uncle did things to me and I didn't like it. So that made me become a bully. And the more bully I became, actually I liked being a bully, But I'm going to make clear on that. I will not hurt girls, but I will hurt the boys.
What, she's trying to hurt people while sleeping with them? What?
What the guy did to me, I would try to hurt all the guys. I don't care. Even if you just look at me.
Okay, it sounds like she didn't have an addiction to sex. It sounds like she had underlying emotional issues brought on by mistreatment in the past. Why would he put this in the sex addiction slot? In fact, why would she come here? She needs to talk to a therapist. What? Also, there's a totally legitimate sphere of, I don't know what you call it, kink, I guess, that involves this exact thing. So there's nothing wrong with that. If you're into kink, then go nuts.
I don't care if you want to say hi to me. I don't care about anything. Even if you're just gonna walk past by me, I'm gonna do something. And I was just what, maybe?
You're gonna walk past me, I'm gonna do something. What does that mean?
In the 4th grade, when that happened. And I didn't like it. But as I got older, I used the sex. And I used the man for what I needed. I didn't care if it took their money. I didn't care if it took their spirit. I didn't care because I wanted them to feel how it hurted me.
That's because you needed a therapist. That's because you needed to address the underlying emotional issues behind your behavior. This isn't sex addiction. What the hell are you talking about?
And because of that, I learned how to like I guess
Like what?
you can say, I was committing adultery on my husband. Like I didn't care,
Oh, she was married.
you know? Like I didn't care, I just wanted him hurt, But
She wanted to hurt her husband, okay?
but but yeah, sex addiction, I guess you can say is like I don't know, like
Hate about it.
what I hate about it, that I cover myself up a lot. I hate that that I try to act somebody that I'm not, you know. I have a defense wall, you know.
Okay, acting like somebody you're not is not a good thing, but you can change that quality about yourself. This isn't describing sex addiction. There is, as far as I can tell, legitimate sex addiction. I had an argument with my professor about this in college. Is sex addiction a real thing? Or could it even be a real thing? Because it's a biological drive. He argued that in the same way that sex is a biological drive, eating is also a biological drive, and people overdo that. So they're addicted to that. So I guess I can accept tentatively that there is such a thing as sex addiction, but what she's describing isn't sex addiction. It's deep underlying emotional issues that need to be addressed desperately. And this poor fool has been pulled into Mike Lindell's ridiculous network.
So, yeah.
This is just sad, man. She needs to come back to reality. She needs to find an actual real, secular treatment program. Not this ridiculous nonsense. This is so sad. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. This is just ridiculous, man.